Hey there, hope you're having a fantastic day today. Today I want to share with you 10 simple money saving hacks. And one of my goals for the year 2020 was really to be able to reduce the amount that I was spending and really just try to make a concerted effort to save as much money as possible. Christopher and I have a down payment for a house that we're wanting to save up for this year, as well as a couple fun trips that we would like to go on. But in order to do that, you gotta save some money. So today I want to share with you 10 simple money saving hacks that I'm going to be implementing in my life in 2020, and I'm hoping that maybe you might be able to implement some of these as well to help you save money, live more intentionally, and just be wise about how you're spending the resources that you have. And let's get started with the first one, which is to use cashback and rewards programs. And I personally have found so much value in being able to sign up for rewards programs or cashback programs that can help me to save money on things that I'm already planning on buying. I've talked before about the danger of sales and just kind of like shopping the sales racks mindlessly, but for me, when I'm using a cashback or a rewards program, there's a lot more intentionality behind that because it's helping me save money on things that I would already be purchasing. And so I use these all the time, whether that's when we bought our new mattress or something as simple as when I'm going to buy groceries. And you guys know I've talked about Top Cashback before, and they are very kindly once again sponsoring today's video, but I love them because not only do they have a super simple sign up process, you just enter in a little bit of information about yourself and then you can easily log on and begin browsing from thousands of different retailers, from Target to Walmart to Amazon to many of the stores that you would naturally be buying from. And then you can just really easily click through the link to the retailer of your choice and proceed buying any products that you would normally get. And I've been able to use Top Cashback to get cashback on a lot of different items, whether that's the mattress for our bed, some organization and cleaning supplies that I bought earlier last year, a sweater I got for Christopher for Christmas. Those are all items that I was going to be buying already anyways, but through using Top Cashback, I was able to save an additional percentage in the process. And one of my favorite things about Top Cashback is that they do offer a 100% commission to their members, so you're going to consistently see higher cashback rates on Top Cashback than you will on other platforms. So honestly, there are so many things to love about this platform, and personally, I've really made it into this money saving habit where whenever I have something that I need to go and purchase online, be that from, like I said, Amazon, Target, Walmart, they've got so many different retailers on there, but whenever I'm going to go make a purchase, I'll just go ahead and check to see if that retailer that I'm going to buy from has a cashback rate through Top Cashback. It's a really easy way of saving money, and because they have no minimum payout, whenever I have made that purchase and the funds have gone through, I can easily transfer that money over to my PayPal or bank and then directly put that money right into savings. So if you're looking to save some money in 2020 on items that you're already going to be buying, I highly recommend signing up for Top Cashback. And Top Cashback is kindly offering a $10 sign up bonus to my subscribers when you spend your first $25 on the site. So definitely I'll have all of that information linked up below, so definitely go check that out. But absolutely, signing up for cashback or rewards programs, consider what stores you shop at most frequently and what rewards programs it might make sense for you to sign up for. But absolutely, if there's a way that you can be saving money on items that you're already going to be buying, it's definitely something worth pursuing and a great way to save money in 2020. Okay, the second simple money saving hack that I want to share with you guys today is to track your spending. It is really hard to be able to save money each month if you don't know where your money is going in the first place. And so many people I meet rarely, if ever, look at how they're actually spending their money. They might look at the balance in their bank account, but they're not actually going through and saying, okay, wow, I spent $50 on coffee this month. Is that a wise use of my money? By going through and tracking your spending and just becoming more generally aware of how you're spending your money, you're going to be able to make much more intentional purchasing decisions and figure out if there's some places your money should be going over others. So one great way to get started with this is to print out your account statements for the last 3 months. Print out your debit card, any credit cards you might have, figure out every, I guess, card or way that you can possibly spend money, print out all of those statements, lay them side by side, go back 3 months so you can get a better picture of like where your money is going. But go through and look at that, figure out where you're spending your money, maybe if there are any areas where you're spending too much money that you think you can cut down on, and just generally become aware of how am I spending my money, and just ask yourself, is this intentional? Is it purposeful? Does this contribute to my long-term goals? If it doesn't, maybe it's time to begin budgeting and laying out a little bit more of a defined plan of how you can spend your money. But just generally becoming aware of where your money is going is a great way to wake up a little bit and say, okay, maybe I could be doing a little bit better at saving more money and perhaps spending less. So number 2 is to track your spending. Number 3 is to avoid storage costs. Now obviously, let's get out of the way and say it, there are some times when getting storage is an inevitable thing that we have to do. But that being said, way too often, Americans in general will just say, oh, I don't feel like dealing with the crap that I have, and I'm just going to stick it in storage for it never actually to get used. That's not a healthy way of looking at things. If you don't have room for something and are looking to put it in storage, the chances are it's something that you don't actually need. So if you have a storage unit or are considering investing in one, take a step back and say, oh wait, do I actually need the things that I'm wanting to put into this? Or is it something that I'm simply wanting to put off dealing with? Are they things that I'm never actually going to use? If either of those questions ring true for you, make this that moment of realization where you say, oh wait, why am I spending money to store things that I'm never actually going to use? Maybe those things have some kind of amount of value, so you can additionally put money towards savings by selling some of those items off. But regardless if that's the case, a fantastic way to be able to save money and to live a more simple life in 2020 is simply to cut out those storage costs and declutter or get rid of anything that you might be considering storing to never actually use. Moving on, number 4 is to cancel any unused subscriptions. And I've talked about this before, but in the world today, we have so many subscription services available to us, whether that's some kind of delivery box service, whether that's Amazon, whether that's Netflix, Hulu, Spotify. There are so many different subscription services, and those subscription services are fantastic. I use several of them myself. But if we don't use, or at least don't frequently use, those subscription services, they're simply wasting us money. To really help give you perspective on this whole thing, list out every single subscription service that you are subscribed to, and then beside it, list out its monthly cost and add all of those up. I think that, like me, you might be surprised if you do this to really fully realize the total dollar amount that you have going out each month, and then compare it to maybe the significantly lesser value that those subscription services are actually providing you. So figure all that out, and then hopefully you can use that as a guide as you try to make wiser decisions in the future about which subscription services you want to continue to use and which ones it might be best to cancel. All right, and number 5 is to use public transportation. Whether you want to use a bus, a train, to bike, to take a walk, using alternative methods of transportation or public transportation really can help us to save money in the long run. Yes, it has that side benefit of being better for the environment, but especially if you live in a bigger city where the costs of parking are astronomical, or simply if you're just spending a lot of money on gas every month, take some time to weigh out those options, do some cost-benefit analysis, and I think you really might be surprised at how much you stand to save by leveraging public transportation more often. Many of you guys know that Christopher and I both work from home, but one of the times we're really able to leverage this particular tip is when we're going to go see a basketball game or football game, a concert, using public transportation to get into the city instead of paying $50 per parking is not only a lot cheaper, but it also saves us the hassle of trying to drive around with thousands of other people who are also trying to leave the game at once. So obviously this one is hugely individual and will depend a lot on what your public transportations are, where you live, what your lifestyle looks like. But just reflect, think about, consider, brainstorm, how might I be able to use public transportation to save me money? Owning and operating a car is not cheap, but I think that it's something that a lot of times in the United States we simply take for granted. So consider some alternate methods of transportation because they really can be an easy way for you to be able to save money in the long run. Okay, number 6 is to make your own coffee. And I talked a little bit bit earlier about figuring out where your money is going each month. And I think that people are oftentimes really surprised by how much of their money on a monthly basis ends up going to purchasing coffee or other hot beverages. And I get it, I love that coffee shop vibe and a good warm drink as much as the next person. But depending on how much you drink tea or coffee out, simply choosing to make your tea or coffee from home could save you anywhere between $25 and over $100 per month. Oftentimes it's not necessarily those big, huge purchases that we think about for a long time that really hinder us from being able to save money. Instead, it's those small purchases that we make routinely without even thinking about it that really do add up over time and keep us from being able to maximize our saving potential. So don't get me wrong here, I'm not at all saying that you should never go out to get a coffee at a coffee shop. I absolutely love meeting for friends at coffee shops and being able to hang out, talk, and catch up. But if you are going to go out and get a coffee, make it into an experience that you can enjoy, and it's something that's thoughtful and that doesn't happen too often. Cultivating a habit of making your own hot drink from home is going to save you a lot of money in the long run. And honestly, it's a good therapeutic element of a morning routine. So begin doing it, and I think you'll probably learn to enjoy it pretty quickly. Next up, number 7 is to own only one of each makeup product. And I mentioned this in my things I only own one of video, but I love being able to own only one of each type of makeup product that I regularly use for several different reasons, but number 1 is that it saves me money. By not owning multiples of different items, I'm able to ensure that I'm fully using up every single one of the makeup products I own. I'm also really intentional not to own more makeup products than I actually need or I'm going to use, which means that I'm not going to drugstores or makeup stores and frivolously spending up to $40 on a single item of makeup. Yes, makeup is an area where I do actually tend to invest in higher quality items and thus spend more money on a single product, but by only owning one of each kind of product, I'm able to save up so much money in the long run. The problem is that when we own multiples or even dozens of copies of a lipstick, an eyeshadow, a foundation, when we own too many of a specific type of item, we never actually end up using everything that we have. And the effect of that is that we end up having hundreds of dollars worth of makeup products collecting dust, sitting around and quickly becoming clutter. And this is definitely a way that minimalism can help influence how much money we're able to save, but if we're much more intentional about using a reduced number of products and only owning one of each of those products that we use, we do stand to save a lot of money in the long run by simply just drastically reducing the amount of makeup that we own or need. And that brings us to number 8, which is to embrace free entertainment. And I really do believe that in many ways we've forgotten the art of free entertainment. We're always wanting to go spend our money at the movies or at an expensive dinner. There's so many different expensive activities that we often try to fill our times with. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with those activities, we do stand to save a lot of money by just remembering how many different amazing free entertainment options there are out there. Going to a local art or theater show, hosting a game night or movie night with your friends at your place, maybe pop some popcorn and have some snacks. Or maybe a fun alternative to shopping might be to host a clothing swap with your friends. Whether you want to choose to go to the park or on a hike, to stay in, or to do something fun. I think that so often when we try to consider what we can do to entertain or amuse ourselves, our initial instinct is always to try to find something that's going to cost money. And I think that we're kind of conditioned to do that by society, but if we can return to that idea of living, I guess, in a more simple time, but simply where we can embrace free entertainment again and get creative about ways that we can have fun while also saving money in the process, I think that's a really healthy and valuable habit and practice for us to cultivate. Okay, let's shift to a bit of a different one here. Number 9 is to buy only food that you'll use. And I know that personally that's a goal for me in 2020, is to simply buy food that I'm going to be able to use up and to reduce the amount of food that I'm wasting in the process. When we buy more food than we need, we're simply throwing money out the window. Not only is creating food waste not a good use of the planet's resources, it's also not a good use of our own personal monetary resources. And I think there are really 2 big culprits in this category. One is simply us buying too much food, and a great way of being able to prevent this one is to, when you go grocery shopping, go grocery shopping on a full stomach. Have a meal before you go so you're not tempted to buy more food than you actually need. And And then I think the second part of this is us buying things that we're not actually going to use. And I think one of the biggest ways that we can once again prevent this one is to create a list of the food that you actually need so that you can intentionally go out and buy things that you know that you're going to use. This is a huge one though, and if you really begin to be intentional about making sure that you're only buying food you're actually going to use, and you stop buying excess items or food items that you're never actually going to use, it's a great way to be able to cut down on your grocery bills and be able to save a lot of money every single month. Okay, and finally, number 10 is to use things up. And I love this one because I really do believe that there's a huge tendency in our culture to move on to the latest and greatest, the next thing, before finishing up what we have already. And guys, this one can be really applied to so many different things. Whether that's using up the shampoo that you're using before moving on to the next one. This can be applied to any makeup items that you might have. Socks, don't buy new ones before you've gone through and used up your old ones. Food, if you have a jar of yogurt that's already open, finish that up before moving on to the next one. Honestly, this one might seem a bit like a no-brainer, and in some ways it is, but personally and in other people that I've met, I have experienced all too often people moving on to the latest and greatest thing before using up what they already have. So figure out how this one might apply to you. Maybe you have a tendency to do this with personal care products, maybe it's with food, maybe it's with clothing. Whatever it is, I think that one of the best ways that we can begin to save money is to get the full use, the full value of those items that we already have purchased. By not throwing out or moving on from a product when there's still a good third of its life left in it, you're able to really just be able to reduce the amount of overall consumption that you're going to have and be able to save money in the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed these 10 simple money hacks, and I hope that they give you some inspiration on ways that you might be able to save money in 2020. Whatever money saving hacks or habits you choose to implement this year, remember that those small differences, those small changes that you make really can have a tremendous difference in your ability to save. And I'm confident that by implementing some of these tips, you'll be well on your way to being able to reach those savings goals that you have for 2020. I want to know though, what is one money saving habit that you want to begin implementing this year? Comment that down below. And also I just wanted to say thank you so much to Top Cashback for sponsoring this video. Remember guys that if you want to get your $10 sign up bonus when you spend your first $25, you can get that today. Just click the link in the description box below. I'll have all of the information down there for you. And finally, if you're here for the first time, hi, my name is Ashlynne, and I make videos every week on this channel about minimalism and intentional living. So if that sounds interesting to you, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. But that is everything I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.